Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Katie and this is Books R Us. Today I will be talking about a few books that I have read that have been turned into either TV shows or movies, and if that was the right choice for them or if they should have been switched. So for example, if a book turned movie should have been a book turned TV show instead, or vice versa. So let's get started with the one that I'm currently reading, and that is the Game of Thrones book. This is book number 3, Storm of Swords, which roughly correlates with season 3 and I believe part of season 4 for the Game of Thrones TV series. And I think for something like this, when the books are so thick and there's so many different viewpoints and there's so much information being given in the books as well as outside of the books, in different books that Martin has written, I think it's a good idea for at least this series to be turned into a TV show, because then you can spend a little more time building up all of the characters and all that stuff, even though the episode count per season is, I believe, about 8. I think there's at least 7 or 8 episodes each season. So in that sense, I think it's good for something like this, because there are so many things going on at the same time in different parts of the world, basically. So that's A Storm of Swords and the Game of Thrones phenomena that has happened. So I think that was a good choice. The next one I have, it's actually 2. It's Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, both by J.R.R. Martin. J.R.R. Tolkien. Wow, why did I do that? I think with them doing these as movies was really good. Personally, though, I think The Hobbit should have been done as one movie, maybe 2, and anyone who's read the book, who I've talked to at least, pretty much agrees that it should have been 1, maybe 2 movies, not 3. It didn't need the romance with Legolas, the romance triangle, love triangle between the 2 elves and dwarf. But again, that's just what I've heard. People may think differently, but I think this one was fine as a movie. However, for me, Lord of the Rings, they were great movies. You know, they got the main points across. They got as many characters as possible into the books. Of course, into the movies. Of course, you can't include everything, but they're good movies. However, I do think now they could go back, well, maybe like wait a decade or 2, but go back and then make a TV series out of this. So kind of like Game of Thrones, and do like a book a season. That'd only be 3 seasons, but you could spend more time on the more important parts, and, well, more important, but like all of the events, like leading up to certain things. You can include more and all of that good fun stuff. The next I have is the Wrinkle in Time. This one's the Wrinkle in Time trilogy. I have 3 of the books in one. Now there are more series in this. Like, this follows Meg and her family, and then there's one with Meg's love interest's family. I'm not remembering his name right now, but yes, this was a good movie. I really liked the first one, and I'm really hoping that they continue with those movies, getting them out, and they're as soon as possible, because there are some movies that we can actually talk about now, like the Chronicles of Narnia, where they just took too long and they just couldn't finish the other movies because the kids grew up. So there have been a few attempts to do movies with these. The most recent being the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, starting in 2007, and then they did Prince Caspian and Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Am I missing one? I think those are the main 3 that they did with this set cast. And then the kids just grew up, and they couldn't, from what I understand, they couldn't finish it because in the books, they're all within, like, the books are set within like 3 or 4 years of them first discovering Narnia. So in that sense, I think it would have been nice to have a TV series to get all of that. But on the other hand, it is nice to get the movies for these. Just because for me, it's like with Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones, you have a lot of information. Whereas with Chronicles of Narnia, you have some information, but you don't have enough to make each book its own season. Chronicles of Narnia, I think they just need to get a cast in mind and set, and then do it, film them all within like 2 years of each other, so the kids don't grow up as fast. That makes sense, because then they can enjoy having all 6 movies. I say 6 because the 7th one is the professor when he's a kid. So, take that as you will, I should say. Okay. The next series I have is the Robert Langdon series. I have Origin right here, which I read for Booktubeathon 2 months ago now. I really liked Origin, and so they've done movies for Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, and the last one in Italy. I'm not remembering the name. I'll think of it. Anyways, they've done 3 of them, but there's actually a 4th book between those 3 and Origin. And so I'm not sure what they'll do with that, but I think these were the series. The Robert Langdon series was a really good series to do as movies. They were a little, info heavy as to why people were doing things, but action-wise, I think it was a good choice to go with movies, just because of how the books were set up in general. I'm going broad here, but the Percy Jackson series, as well as this is the Book of Dust, but the Golden Compass series. These movies were received well by those who hadn't read the book. If people had read Percy Jackson, that series, and read the Golden Compass series, they weren't a fan of the movies because they didn't follow the books as well as possible. I mean, Harry Potter was pretty good, but there were some parts where book fans got really angry. There were more parts in the Golden Compass and Percy Jackson that were just like, wait, what's going on? Why did you include that but not that? Because, well, why did you include X but not Y? Y was more important than X. And it was a hot mess. So I think with actually both of these books, they could be TV shows if they wanted to be, because the movies kind of sucked. Again, they were great movies. They just sucked as like being compared to the books, and no one really wants that. So I would want to see either different movies, which would be fine. Like I said for Narnia, they have enough information for seasons, but at the same time, there's nothing like extra. Like Lord of the Rings, there's like a billion different indexes and appendixes that you can look at for more information. But these is like, sure, you have enough stuff, but for a season, but you might have to add stuff, which would take away from fans of the book reading it. So it's really up to whoever's taking those projects on and revamping those movies and books. Yeah, that is all the books I think should be TV shows or movies, and why. If you have any ideas for other films I should make, short videos, please comment in the discussion boards below. And if you have any ideas of what should be made into a TV show or movie, feel free to have a conversation with me as well as the other people who are watching this movie, a film, short video, I don't know what it's called. But yeah, please leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you later. Have a good day, guys. Bye.